The vast expanse of space had always called to Dr. Ilara Chen, but she never imagined she'd be the one to answer humanity's most burning question. Are we alone? As the lead xenobiologist aboard the International Space Station's new deep space module, Ilara had front-row seats to humanity's boldest venture yet. The ISS-X, as it was dubbed, represented the pinnacle of human technological achievement. It was humanity's first true deep space habitat, designed to push the boundaries of our solar system exploration. Ilara gazed out of the reinforced viewport, her dark eyes reflecting the countless stars. The module's revolutionary propulsion system had carried them farther than any human had ever ventured, to the very edge of our solar system. Commander Jackson's voice crackled over the intercom, interrupting Ilara's contemplation. "Dr. Chen, we're picking up some unusual readings. Can you come to the bridge?" Ilara's heart raced as she made her way through the module's corridors. Unusual readings could mean anything out here, where the laws of physics seemed to bend at the edges of human understanding. As she entered the bridge, she was greeted by a flurry of activity. Screens flickered with data streams, and the air was thick with tension. Commander Jackson, a tall woman with silver-streaked hair, motioned Ilara over to the main console. "Take a look at this," Jackson said, pointing to a pulsating blip on the screen. "We've been tracking this anomaly for the past hour. It doesn't match any known celestial body or phenomenon." Ilara leaned in, her scientific mind already racing through possibilities. "Have we tried hailing it?" Jackson nodded. "Standard protocols, all frequencies. No response." As they watched, the anomaly grew larger on the screen. It was approaching them at an impossible speed, defying the very laws of physics they understood. Ilara's breath caught in her throat as the realization dawned on her. "It's not a natural phenomenon," she whispered. "It's a ship." The bridge fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Humanity's first contact was about to happen, not on Earth as many had speculated, but here, at the edge of known space. Suddenly, their communications array crackled to life. A strange, melodic series of tones filled the air, followed by a voice that seemed to resonate within their minds rather than their ears. "Greetings, explorers of Earth. We are the Zarquin. We have been observing your progress for some time." Commander Jackson straightened her uniform, taking a deep breath before responding. "This is Commander Olivia Jackson of the International Space Station X. We come in peace and welcome the opportunity for dialogue." There was a pause, and then the voice returned. "Your bravery is noted, Commander. We did not expect to find your kind so far from your home world. Perhaps there is more to your species than we initially believed." Ilara couldn't help but feel a mixture of excitement and indignation at the slightly condescending tone. She stepped forward. "I am Dr. Ilara Chen, xenobiologist. We're eager to learn about your species and share knowledge." Another pause, longer this time. "Xenobiologist. Fascinating. We were unaware your civilization had progressed to such specialized studies of extraterrestrial life." As they conversed, the alien ship came into view. It was massive, easily dwarfing the ISS-X. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent sheen, defying easy description. It looked both organic and mechanical, a blend of technology so advanced it bordered on miraculous. The Zarquin voice spoke again. "We are curious about your vessel. It appears to utilize principles we thought beyond your current capabilities. How have you achieved such propulsion?" Jackson and Ilara exchanged glances. The propulsion system was humanity's crowning achievement, a closely guarded secret that had revolutionized space travel. Sharing such information with an unknown alien species could be risky. "Our propulsion system is the result of decades of research and innovation," Jackson replied diplomatically. "We'd be happy to discuss the basic principles, but I'm sure you understand our need for some discretion regarding the specifics." There was a note of surprise in the Zarquin's response. "Discretion? Intriguing. Perhaps we have underestimated your species' technological advancement and political acumen." As the conversation progressed, It became clear that the Zarquin, despite their advanced technology, had dismissed humanity as a fledgling species barely worth notice. The ISSX's presence so far from Earth had caught them off guard, challenging their preconceptions. Ilara, ever the scientist, was bursting with questions. Zarquin friends, may I ask about your biology? Your mode of communication suggests a form of telepathy. Is this natural to your species or technologically enhanced? The response came with a hint of amusement. Dr. Chen, your curiosity is refreshing. Our communication is indeed a blend of biological capability and technological augmentation. We are surprised by your quick comprehension of this concept. As hours passed, the initial tension gave way to a cautious exchange of knowledge. The Zarquin, it turned out, were a species that valued intellect and technological prowess above all else. They had been traveling the galaxy for millennia, observing and occasionally interacting with other species. We must admit, the Zarquin voice said, that we had categorized your species as primitive based on our long-range observations. Your presence here, and the level of discourse we have engaged in, suggests we may need to reevaluate our assessment. Commander Jackson smiled diplomatically. We appreciate your candor. Humanity has indeed made great strides in recent years. We believe in the power of cooperation and shared knowledge. Perhaps there is much we could learn from each other. The Zarquins seemed to consider this. Indeed, your adaptability and innovative thinking are unexpected. We have encountered species with far greater technological advancement who lack the creativity and resourcefulness you have displayed. As the conversation continued, Ilara's scientific mind was working overtime. The Zarquins' biology, their technology, their very way of thinking. It was all so beautifully alien, yet she couldn't shake the feeling that despite their advanced state, they had somehow stagnated. Their dismissal of humanity based on preconceived notions spoke of a certain rigidity in their thinking. Zarquin friends, Ilara ventured, you speak of observing many species across the galaxy. Have you ever considered that technological advancement alone might not be the best measure of a civilization's potential? There was a long pause. When the response came, it carried a note of genuine curiosity. An interesting perspective, Dr. Chen. What other measures would you propose? Ilara took a deep breath, aware that her next words could shape the future of human-Zarquin relations. Adaptability, for one. The ability to thrive in diverse environments and overcome challenges. Creativity and innovation. The capacity to imagine solutions that don't yet exist. Emotional intelligence and empathy, which allow for cooperation and peaceful coexistence. And perhaps most importantly, the willingness to admit when our preconceptions might be wrong, and to learn from those we once considered lesser. The silence that followed was profound. The entire bridge crew held their breath, waiting for the Zarquin's response. Finally, the alien voice spoke, this time with a tone of respect that hadn't been there before. Dr. Chen, your words give us much to consider. It seems we may have much to learn from humanity after all. Commander Jackson stepped forward. Then let this be the beginning of a mutually beneficial relationship. We invite you to visit our Earth, to see firsthand the diversity and potential of our species. The Zarquin's response was immediate and surprising. We accept your invitation, Commander Jackson. However, we propose a different approach. Instead of us visiting Earth, we would like to invite a delegation from your planet to join us on a journey. Ilara's eyes widened. A journey? To where? To the heart of the galactic community. The Zarquin replied. There is much you do not know about the wider universe, and much that the wider universe does not know about you. We believe it is time for humanity to take its place on the galactic stage. As the implications of this invitation sank in, Ilara felt a shiver of excitement run down her spine. This was more than first contact. This was humanity's chance to prove itself among the stars. Commander Jackson straightened, her voice firm and clear. We would be honored to accept your invitation. However, such a decision would need to be discussed with our leaders back on Earth. Of course, the Zarquin agreed. We will remain here while you communicate with your world. But be warned, Commander. The galaxy is vast and not always kind. If humanity wishes to join the galactic community, you must be prepared for challenges beyond anything you have faced before. As the communication ended and the crew scrambled to send messages back to Earth, Ilara stood quietly, staring out at the alien ship. She couldn't help but feel that humanity stood on the brink of a new era. They had been dismissed as impossible, their achievements deemed beyond their capabilities. Yet here they were, about to embark on a journey that would change the course of human history. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Ilara knew one thing for certain. Humanity was ready to prove itself among the stars. The impossible was just the beginning. The journey to the heart of the galactic community was nothing short of mind-bending for the human delegation. Dr. Ilara Chen, Commander Olivia Jackson, and 3 other carefully selected representatives from Earth found themselves aboard the Zarquin vessel, traveling at speeds that defied their understanding of physics. As they emerged from what the Zarquin called fold space, a bustling galactic hub came into view. The space around a massive, ring-shaped station was alive with ships of all shapes and sizes, each one a testament to the diversity of life in the universe. Welcome, the Zarquin voice resonated in their minds, to the Galactic Conclave. As the human delegation disembarked, they were immediately struck by the sheer variety of alien life forms. Creatures that defied easy description moved about with purpose, some floating, others slithering, while yet others seemed to phase in and out of visible space. A tall, slender being with iridescent skin approached them. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Xandor, the Conclave's chief liaison. We have been eagerly awaiting your arrival." Commander Jackson stepped forward, extending a hand in the universal gesture of peace. "Thank you for your welcome, Xandor. We are honored to be here." Xandor's large, multifaceted eyes blinked in what seemed to be amusement. Yes. Physical contact as a greeting. How quaint. Come, let us proceed to the Grand Chamber. The conclave awaits." As they walked through the station's winding corridors, Ilara couldn't help but notice the stares and whispers that followed them. Some aliens seemed curious, others wary, and a few openly hostile. "Is it just me?" Ilara whispered to Jackson, "or do we seem to be causing quite a stir?" Jackson nodded grimly. "We're the new kids on the block, Dr. Chen. And from what I can gather, not everyone is happy about our arrival." They entered the Grand Chamber, a vast circular room filled with tiered seating. Representatives from hundreds of alien species turned to observe the human delegation as they were led to the center of the chamber. A booming voice, translated through some unseen technology, echoed through the chamber. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Conclave, we gather today to welcome and evaluate the latest species to join our ranks, the humans of Earth." Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the magnitude of the moment. They weren't just here as guests. They were here to be judged. The voice continued, "As is our custom, the humans will be given the opportunity to prove their worth through the Galactic Challenge. Should they succeed, they will be granted full membership in the Conclave and access to the knowledge and resources of our combined civilizations." Commander Jackson stepped forward, her voice steady despite the pressure. "We accept your challenge, whatever it may be. Humanity has faced many trials in its history, and we have always emerged stronger." A ripple of what could only be described as laughter echoed through the chamber. A bulbous, tentacled creature floated forward. Such bravado from a species that has barely left its own solar system. "Tell us, human, what could you possibly offer to a galactic community that has seen the rise and fall of empires spanning millions of years?" Before Jackson could respond, Ilara found herself speaking up. "With all due respect, esteemed member of the Conclave, it is precisely our youth as a spacefaring species that gives us our strength. We bring fresh perspectives, untainted by eons of set practices. Our rapid advancement from planetary civilization to deep space exploration in mere centuries speaks to our adaptability and innovative spirit. The chamber fell silent, all eyes, or sensory organs, fixed on Ilara. She swallowed hard but continued. We may not have the vast libraries of knowledge that you possess, but we have an insatiable curiosity and a drive to overcome obstacles that many would deem impossible. Is that not a valuable trait in a universe full of unknowns? Xandor's multifaceted eyes seemed to glimmer with interest. Well spoken, Dr. Chen. Perhaps there is more to your species than meets the eye. Very well, let us proceed with the challenge. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a dense asteroid field surrounding a pulsing energy source. Your challenge, Xandor explained, is to retrieve a sample of the energy source at the heart of the Galactic Nebula. Many have tried, all have failed. The asteroid field is too dense for conventional navigation, and the energy source itself is highly unstable. You have one planetary rotation to prepare. Good luck, humans. You'll need it. As the human delegation was led to their assigned quarters, the gravity of their situation began to sink in. They had one day to solve a problem that had stumped advanced alien civilizations for who knows how long. In their preparation room, Commander Jackson paced back and forth. All right, team, let's break this down. What are we dealing with? Dr. Zong, Earth's leading astrophysicist, spoke up. The asteroid field is our primary obstacle. No ship, no matter how advanced, could navigate through that chaos without being torn apart. And even if we could, added Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the team's engineer, the energy source's instability means we can't get too close without risking destruction. Ilara leaned back, her mind racing. We're thinking about this the wrong way, she said suddenly. We're trying to solve this problem like the other species would, with brute force and advanced technology. But that's not our strength. Jackson raised an eyebrow. What do you suggest, Dr. Chen? We need to think smaller, Ilara said, a spark of excitement in her eyes. Much smaller. Over the next several hours, the human team worked feverishly, combining their diverse knowledge and skills in ways they never had before. They requisitioned materials from their bemused alien hosts, who seemed to find their frantic activity both amusing and puzzling. As the deadline approached, the human delegation returned to the Grand Chamber, carrying a small, unremarkable-looking device. Xandor tilted his head curiously. You've constructed a probe. Not quite, Dr. Tanaka replied with a smile. We call it a swarm. At a signal from Commander Jackson, Dr. Tanaka activated the device. It hummed to life, and suddenly the air was filled with thousands of tiny, glittering motes. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber as the alien representatives watched in fascination. Ilara stepped forward to explain. What you're seeing is a swarm of nanobots, each one smaller than a grain of sand. They're designed to work together, adapting to their environment and communicating as a collective intelligence. The holographic display of the Galactic Nebula sprang to life, and the human team directed their swarm into the simulation. The tiny robots spread out, weaving through the asteroids with ease, too small to be affected by the gravitational forces that would tear larger ships apart. As the swarm approached the energy source, it reconfigured itself, forming a protective shell around a collection unit. With precision that left the alien observers stunned, the swarm extracted a sample of the energy and began its journey back through the asteroid field. When the simulation ended, the chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, a sound began to build. It took the humans a moment to realize it was applause, or at least the closest approximation that the diverse alien species could manage. Xandor stepped forward, his iridescent skin shimmering with what seemed to be excitement. In all my cycles as chief liaison, I have never seen such an elegant solution. You have succeeded where countless others have failed, and you did so not with overwhelming force or ultra-advanced technology, but with creativity and adaptability. The booming voice from earlier echoed through the chamber once more. The humans have proven themselves worthy. Let it be known that from this day forward, Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Conclave. As celebrations erupted around them, Commander Jackson turned to her team, her eyes shining with pride. Well done, all of you. We've just put humanity on the galactic map. But even as they basked in their success, Ilara couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They had proven themselves, yes, but at what cost? They had just demonstrated to an entire galactic community that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, and in a universe as vast and complex as this one, she couldn't help but wonder, what kind of attention had they just attracted? As if reading her thoughts, a gravelly voice spoke from behind them. The team turned to see a being that seemed to be made of living shadow, its form barely holding a consistent shape. "Congratulations, humans," it said, its voice sending shivers down their spines. "You've passed the test, but the real challenge is yet to come. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and not all eyes watching you are friendly. Be prepared." Before they could respond, the shadowy being melted away into the crowd, leaving the human team to exchange worried glances. Commander Jackson squared her shoulders. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. Humanity has earned its place among the stars, and we're here to stay." As the celebrations continued around them, the human delegation knew that this was just the beginning. They had overcome their first galactic challenge, but many more lay ahead. The universe was vast, filled with wonders and terrors beyond their imagination. But they had proven that humanity's greatest strength lay not in advanced technology or overwhelming force, but in their ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to work together in the face of impossible odds. The journey ahead would be difficult, but for the first time in history, humanity was truly ready to take its place among the stars. The impossible was just the beginning, and the greatest adventures were yet to come. The euphoria of their initial success in the Galactic Challenge was short-lived for the human delegation. As they settled into their new role as members of the Galactic Conclave, they quickly realized that earning respect among the stars would be an ongoing battle. Dr. Ilara Chen found herself in the Conclave's vast library, a repository of knowledge that spanned millions of years and countless civilizations. As she pored over texts and holographic displays, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "You seem troubled, human," a melodious voice chimed. Ilara turned to see a being that resembled a floating crystal, its facets shimmering with internal light. "Greetings," Ilara said, trying to mask her surprise. "I'm Dr. Ilara Chen. And you are?" "I am Zix-17, archivist of the Atlari Collective," the crystalline being replied. "Your species has caused quite a stir in the Conclave. Many are curious about the primitive race that solved the Krevlax Nebula Challenge." Ilara bristled at the word primitive, but kept her composure. "We'd prefer to think of ourselves as young rather than primitive. There's a lot we can learn from the Conclave, but I believe we have much to offer as well." Zix-17's facets pulsed with what might have been amusement, bold words. "But tell me, Dr. Chen, how do you intend to contribute to a galactic community that has seen the rise and fall of empires while your kind was still learning to make fire?" Before Ilara could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The library's holographic displays flickered, showing a massive spatial anomaly forming near the Conclave station. Commander Jackson's voice crackled over Ilara's communicator. "Dr. Chen, we need you in the emergency council chamber immediately." As Ilara rushed through the corridors, she saw panic on the faces, or equivalent sensory organs, of the various alien species. Whatever was happening, it was clear that even these advanced civilizations were caught off guard. In the emergency council chamber, representatives from various species were arguing loudly. Commander Jackson stood with the rest of the human delegation, looking grim. Xandor raised his arms for silence. "Esteemed members of the Conclave, we face an unprecedented crisis. The spatial anomaly is expanding rapidly. threatening to engulf our station and several nearby star systems. A holographic display showed the anomaly, a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to devour light itself. Data streams scrolled by, incomprehensible to Ilara, but clearly alarming to the alien scientists. Our best theories suggest this is a result of an experimental faster-than-light drive test gone wrong. Xandor continued. The Jorax Imperium was pushing the boundaries of fold space technology. Now, we're all paying the price for their recklessness. The shadowy being Ilara had seen after their initial challenge materialized next to Xandor. The situation is dire. Our most advanced containment technologies have failed. If we cannot find a solution, millions of lives across multiple star systems will be lost. Commander Jackson stepped forward. What if we adapted our nanobot swarm technology? We could potentially use it to interact with the anomaly at a quantum level. The chamber erupted in dismissive chatter. The bulbous, tentacled creature from their first day spoke up. Absurd. Your primitive technology cannot hope to affect a spatial anomaly of this magnitude. Alization. Theoretically, yes, if we could generate a counter-resonance to the anomaly's frequency. We could collapse it back in on itself, Ilara finished. But we'd need an enormous amount of energy, more than our current technology can generate. The shadowy being drifted closer. Explain your theory, humans. Quickly. Over the next hour, the human delegation laid out a plan that left many of the alien scientists skeptical but intrigued. They proposed using a vastly upscaled version of their nanobot swarm, powered by the very energy source they had retrieved from the Krevlax Nebula. The swarm would form a net around the anomaly, Dr. Tanaka explained. Each nanobot would act as a tiny resonator, generating a counter-frequency to the anomaly's spatial distortion. Meanwhile, Dr. Zhang continued, we'd use the Krevlax energy to create a controlled quantum fluctuation. This would essentially reset the area of spacetime affected by the anomaly. Xandor's multifaceted eyes blinked rapidly. This is unprecedented. The scale of coordination required, the precision of the quantum manipulations, it's beyond anything we've attempted. That's why it might work, Commander Jackson said firmly. We're not bound by preconceived notions of what's possible. We're willing to take risks to try the untried. The council chamber buzzed with discussion. Finally, the shadowy being spoke. We have no other viable options. The humans' plan, as unorthodox as it is our best hope. You have the Conclave's authorization to proceed. What followed was a frenzy of activity unlike anything the Conclave had seen in millennia. The human team worked tirelessly, coordinating with alien scientists and engineers to bring their audacious plan to life. Dr. Tanaka oversaw the production of trillions of nanobots, each one more advanced than their original design thanks to the input of alien technology. Dr. Zhang worked with the Conclave's top physicists to refine their understanding of the anomaly's quantum structure. Ilara found herself at the heart of it all, coordinating between teams and making split-second decisions that could mean the difference between success and catastrophic failure. The pressure was immense, but she felt a sense of purpose unlike anything she'd experienced before. As the anomaly continued to grow, threatening to engulf entire star systems, the combined forces of the Conclave raced against time. Ships from a dozen different species formed a perimeter around the affected space, ready to deploy the nanobot swarm. In the command center, tension was palpable. Ilara stood with Commander Jackson and the rest of the human team, surrounded by the most brilliant minds the galaxy had to offer. Swarm deployment in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Tanaka's voice was steady as she initiated the launch sequence. On the main view screen, they watched as trillions of tiny points of light surged towards the swirling vortex of the anomaly. The nanobots spread out, forming an intricate web that encompassed the entire phenomenon. Quantum fluctuation generators online, Dr. Zhang reported. Initiating primary sequence. The Krevlax energy source pulsed, sending waves of power through the nanobot network. The anomaly's swirling pattern began to change, its violent energy clashing with the counter-resonance generated by the swarm. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Ilara could hear the nervous murmurs of the alien observers around her. Had they failed? Then, slowly at first, but with gathering speed, the anomaly began to shrink. The swirling vortex of destructive energy collapsed in on itself, growing smaller and smaller until, with a final flash of light, it winked out of existence. The command center erupted in cheers, a cacophony of alien voices celebrating in 100 different languages. Ilara felt Commander Jackson's hand on her shoulder, saw the pride in her eyes. "We did it," Ilara breathed, scarcely able to believe it herself. As the initial euphoria subsided, the full implications of what they had accomplished began to sink in. They had not only saved countless lives, but had done so by combining human ingenuity with the advanced knowledge of the Conclave. Xandor approached the human team, his iridescent skin shimmering with what they now recognized as intense emotion. "In all my cycles, I have never seen anything like this. You humans have done the impossible. Not once, but twice now." The shadowy being materialized beside him. "Indeed, you've proven that your worth to the Conclave goes far beyond solving this single challenge. Your adaptability, your willingness to attempt the unthinkable, these are rare and valuable traits." Commander Jackson stood tall, addressing not just Xandor and the shadowy being, but the entire command center. "What we've accomplished here today wasn't just a human achievement. It was a triumph of cooperation, of combining diverse knowledge and perspectives to overcome an impossible challenge." Ilara stepped forward. "We may be young compared to many of the species here, but that youth gives us a unique perspective. We're not bound by millennia of established practices. We see possibilities where others might see only obstacles." The bulbous, tentacled creature that had doubted them earlier approached, its appendages waving in what seemed to be agitation. "You've certainly proven your worth, humans, but do not let this success go to your heads. The galaxy is vast and full of dangers, many of which you cannot even begin to comprehend." "We understand that," Ilara replied calmly. "We're not here to replace anyone or to claim superiority. We're here to learn, to contribute, and to grow alongside the other members of the Conclave." As the excitement began to die down, and the various teams started the process of analyzing data from the anomaly's collapse, Ilara found a quiet moment to reflect. They had achieved something monumental, something that would likely be recorded in the annals of galactic history. But she knew this was just the beginning. They had earned respect, yes, but also attracted attention. Not all of it friendly. The shadowy being's earlier warning echoed in her mind. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and humanity had just announced its presence in a big way. As if sensing her thoughts, Commander Jackson joined her. "Quite a day, eh, Dr. Chen?" Ilara nodded. "I can't help but wonder what's next. We opened a door, but we don't know what's on the other side." Jackson's expression was resolute. "Whatever comes, we'll face it together, not just as a species, but as part of this galactic community. We've proven that the impossible is just another problem waiting to be solved." As they looked out at the star-filled expanse where the anomaly had been, Ilara felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Humanity had triumphed today, but greater challenges lay ahead. They had earned their place among the stars, but now they would have to fight to keep it. The journey that had begun with a chance encounter at the edge of their solar system had led them to save an entire sector of the galaxy. What wonders and what dangers awaited them in the vast, uncharted territories of space, only time would tell. But one thing was certain: humanity was ready to face whatever the universe had in store. Their ingenuity, their adaptability, and their indomitable spirit would light their way among the stars. The looming threat. In the months following the spatial anomaly crisis, humanity's standing in the Galactic Conclave grew exponentially. The human delegation, once viewed as primitive upstarts, now found themselves sought after for their unique perspective and problem-solving abilities. Dr. Ilara Chen had become a respected figure in the conclave's scientific community, her innovative approaches to long-standing galactic issues earning her both admiration and envy. Commander Olivia Jackson, meanwhile, had been invited to join the conclave's Strategic Defense Council, a position of trust that spoke volumes about humanity's new status. But with great power came great responsibility, and the humans were about to face their greatest challenge yet. It began with whispers, rumors of unrest in the outer rim of the galaxy. Dr. Chen was deep in research in the conclave archives when 617, the crystalline archivist she had met on her first day, approached her with an urgent message. "Dr. Chen, your presence is required in the High Council chamber immediately." 617's facets pulsed with an urgency Ilara had never seen before. As Ilara hurried through the station's winding corridors, she couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. The High Council chamber was reserved for only the most critical galactic matters. She entered to find the chamber in a state of barely controlled chaos. Representatives from dozens of species were engaged in heated debate, their translators struggling to keep up with the rapid-fire exchange. Commander Jackson spotted Ilara and waved her over. The rest of the human delegation was already present, their faces grim. "What's going on?" Ilara asked, her eyes darting between the holographic displays showing various star systems. "War," Jackson replied, her voice tight. "Or at least, the threat of it. A group calling themselves the Void Harbingers has emerged from uncharted space. They've already conquered 3 systems on the outer rim." Before Ilara could respond, Sandor called for order. The chamber fell silent as the chief liaison's voice echoed through the room. "Esteemed members of the conclave, we face a threat unlike any we have encountered in millennia. The Void Harbingers are not merely conquerors, they are nihilists who believe in the fundamental meaninglessness of existence. Their goal is not to rule, but to extinguish all life in the galaxy." Murmurs of fear and disbelief rippled through the chamber. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine as Sandor continued. "Their technology is beyond anything we've seen. They possess weapons capable of snuffing out stars, ships that can phase through our strongest shields. Already, billions of lives have been lost." The shadowy being that had become a familiar presence in times of crisis materialized next to Sandor. "Our long-range sensors have detected a massive Void Harbinger fleet on a direct course for the core systems. If they are not stopped, the heart of our civilization will fall." Chaos erupted in the chamber as representatives argued over courses of action. Some advocated for immediate military intervention, others for attempted diplomacy. A few even suggested surrendering in hopes of mercy. Amidst the pandemonium, Ilara noticed Commander Jackson deep in thought, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Commander," she prompted. Jackson looked up, her eyes blazing with determination. "We're looking at this all wrong," she said, her voice cutting through the noise. "May I have the floor?" Sandor, noticing the human's request, called for silence. "The floor recognizes Commander Olivia Jackson of Earth." All eyes turned to Jackson as she strode to the center of the chamber. "Esteemed members of the conclave, we faced seemingly insurmountable odds before and triumphed. This threat, dire as it is no different." She gestured to the holographic displays. "The Void Harbinger's strength lies in their advanced technology and their belief in the meaninglessness of existence. But these are also their weaknesses." "Explain," the shadowy being prompted, its form rippling with interest. Jackson nodded. "Their technology, advanced as it is, operates on principles we can understand and potentially counter. As for their nihilistic beliefs, well, that's where humanity's greatest strength comes into play." She paused, looking around the chamber. "Throughout our history, humans have faced extinction-level threats, from natural disasters to our own destructive tendencies. But we've always survived, always pushed forward. Why? Because we find meaning in the face of meaninglessness. We create purpose where there is none." Ilara felt a surge of pride as Jackson continued. "The Void Harbingers believe in the futility of existence. We believe in the power of hope, of perseverance against all odds. And that belief, that unshakable spirit, is a weapon they can't counter. Zix-17's facets shimmered thoughtfully. In all my years of studying galactic history, I've learned one truth. Change is the only constant. Your species has changed the conclave. Dr. Chen, you've reminded us of the power of unity, of hope. Whatever happens tomorrow, that legacy will endure. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the station. Ilara's comm unit crackled to life with Commander Jackson's voice. This is it, people. The Void Harbinger fleet has entered the system. All personnel to battle stations. Ilara took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Thank you, Zix-17, she said, for everything. As she raced towards the command center, Ilara's mind was clear. They had prepared as best they could. Now it was time to face the threat head-on, to prove that life, in all its messy, chaotic, beautiful complexity, was worth fighting for. The observation deck's viewscreen flickered to life, showing the approaching Void Harbinger fleet. Their ships were monstrous constructs of dark metal and pulsing energy, a stark contrast to the diverse but unified conclave forces arrayed against them. Commander Jackson's voice rang out across all channels, addressing not just the conclave forces, but broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy. To all sentient beings who value life and hope, this is our moment. The Void Harbingers seek to extinguish the light of consciousness from our galaxy. But we stand united, a tapestry of diverse life forms, each thread unique and vital. We fight not just for our own survival, but for the very idea that existence has meaning, that life, in all its forms, is precious. As Jackson's words echoed across space, the battle began. Ilara watched from the command center as the carefully laid plan unfolded. The Conclave fleet engaged the Void Harbingers, drawing them into the designated zone. Casualties were heavy on both sides, but the defenders fought with a fervor born of desperate hope. Swarm deployment in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Tanaka's voice was steady as she initiated the launch sequence. Trillions of nanobots, each carrying a quantum disruptor payload, streamed from launch bays across the Conclave fleet. On the view screens, they appeared as a glittering cloud, spreading out to envelop the Void Harbinger ships. For agonizing minutes, nothing seemed to happen. The battle raged on, Conclave ships falling to the Void Harbinger's superior firepower. Ilara held her breath, every fiber of her being focused on the swarm's progress. Then, like a string of firecrackers igniting, Void Harbinger ships began to falter. Their phase-shift technology sputtered and failed as the nanobots delivered their payload in the milliseconds of vulnerability. One by one, the seemingly invincible enemy vessels went dark. A cheer went up in the command center, quickly echoed across the Conclave fleet. The tide of battle had turned. But victory, Ilara knew, would come at a heavy cost. As the last Void Harbinger ship fell silent, the magnitude of their losses became clear. Entire species had been pushed to the brink of extinction. Planets lay in ruins. The galactic community had been forever changed. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Ilara found herself facing a new challenge. The threat had been defeated, but the real work of rebuilding, of healing, of forging a new path forward was just beginning. As the stars twinkled in the vast expanse before them, Commander Jackson and Dr. Chen stood in contemplative silence, the gravity of their recent victory and the enormity of the tasks ahead weighing heavily on their minds. Dr. Chen was the first to break the silence. You know, Commander, I've been thinking about the nature of our victory. It wasn't just about military might or technological superiority. Jackson raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Go on. It was our humanity, our capacity for empathy, our ability to form alliances, our stubborn refusal to give up, that truly made the difference, Ilara continued. The Void Harbingers couldn't understand that. They saw consciousness as a burden, life as meaningless. But we proved them wrong. The commander nodded slowly, a small smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. We did it that. But how do we move forward from here? How do we ensure that the seeds of their ideology don't take root elsewhere? Ilara's eyes lit up with determination. Education, cultural exchange. We need to share our stories, our art, our music, all the things that make life worth living. We need to show the galaxy that diversity isn't just beneficial, it's essential for growth and innovation. Ambitious, Jackson remarked, but there was admiration in her voice. You're talking about nothing less than a galactic renaissance. Why not? Ilara challenged. We've just saved the galaxy. Why shouldn't we aim to enlighten it as well? As they continued their discussion, a junior officer approached, clearing his throat nervously. Excuse me, Commander Doctor. The Arcturian delegation is requesting a meeting. They say it's urgent. Jackson and Chen exchanged glances. The Arcturians had been neutral throughout the conflict, their advanced civilization choosing isolation over involvement. Their sudden interest could signal a major shift in galactic politics. Well, Jackson said, straightening her uniform, it seems the work of diplomacy begins now. Care to join me, Dr. Chen? I have a feeling we'll need your scientific expertise as well as your philosophical insights. Ilara nodded, feeling a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Let's go make some history, Commander. As they walked towards the conference room, both women knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life in the galaxy. The challenges ahead were daunting, but after facing down the Void Harbingers, they felt ready for anything. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as they stepped into the unknown, ready to forge a new future for the galaxy. As Commander Jackson and Dr. Chen entered the conference room, they were greeted by the sight of 3 Arcturians. The alien beings were tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Their large, multifaceted eyes regarded the humans with an inscrutable intensity. The lead Arcturian, distinguishable by the intricate patterns adorning its exoskeleton, stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice was a melodious hum that seemed to resonate in the air. Greetings, representatives of Earth. I am Exilnera, speaker for the Arcturian Conclave. We have observed your species' actions during this conflict with great interest. Commander Jackson bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. We're honored by your presence, Speaker Exilnera. I'm Commander Olivia Jackson, and this is Dr. Ilara Chen, our lead xenobiologist and cultural liaison. Exilnera's head tilted slightly, a gesture that the humans had learned to interpret as curiosity. Dr. Chen, your work on interspecies communication protocols has not gone unnoticed. It is part of why we are here today. Ilara felt a flutter of excitement and nervousness. I'm grateful for your recognition, Speaker. How can we assist you? The Arcturian's multifaceted eyes seemed to pulse with an inner light. We have long believed that isolation was the key to our species' survival and advancement. The recent conflict has challenged this assumption. We wish to propose an exchange of knowledge and culture. Commander Jackson tried to keep her surprise from showing. This was unprecedented. The Arcturians were notoriously secretive about their advanced technology and societal structures. We would be honored. Speaker, what did you have in mind? Exilnera made a gesture that caused the air around it to shimmer. Suddenly, a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room, showing a massive space station unlike anything the humans had ever seen. This is the Nexus of Harmonies, Exilnera explained, a place of learning, of cultural exchange, of scientific advancement. We propose to open it to all species who fought against the Void Harbingers, including, of course, humanity. Dr. Chen couldn't contain her excitement. This is incredible. The potential for advancement, for fostering understanding between species, it's beyond anything we could have hoped for. Commander Jackson, ever the pragmatist, had a different concern. And what would be expected of us in return, Speaker? Exilnera's body pulsed with what might have been amusement. Your directness is refreshing, Commander. We ask only that you share your own unique perspectives and knowledge. Humanity's ability to unite diverse factions, to find creative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems. These are valuable traits that could benefit all species. As the implications of this offer sank in, both Jackson and Chen realized that they were standing at the threshold of a new era. The galaxy was about to become a much smaller, much more interconnected place. Speaker Silnera. Commander Jackson said, her voice filled with determination. On behalf of Earth and humanity, we accept your offer. Let this be the beginning of a new age of cooperation and understanding. As they began to discuss the details of this monumental agreement, Dr. Chen couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder. They had saved the galaxy from destruction, and now they had the chance to help shape its future. The adventure, it seemed, was only just. The negotiations with the Arcturians concluded. Commander Jackson and Dr. Chen found themselves once again on the observation deck of their ship, the vastness of space stretching out before them. The excitement of the recent developments was palpable, but there was also a sense of the enormous responsibility that now rested on their shoulders. Ilara broke the contemplative silence. You know, Olivia, when I first joined this mission, I never imagined we'd end up here. Saving the galaxy, brokering alliances with advanced alien civilizations. It's like something out of an old sci-fi novel. Jackson chuckled softly. Life has a way of exceeding our wildest expectations, doesn't it? But you're right. We're in uncharted territory now. As they spoke, a brilliant flash of light caught their attention. A ship was emerging from faster-than-light travel, its sleek design unlike anything in Earth's fleet. It was an Arcturian vessel, the first of many that would be joining the combined Galactic fleet. There it is, Ilara breathed. The future, arriving in real time. Commander Jackson nodded, her expression a mix of determination and hope. Indeed, and it's up to us to make sure it's a future worth having. She turned to face Ilara fully. Dr. Chen, I have a proposition for you. We're going to need someone to lead our delegation to the nexus of harmonies. Someone with a deep understanding of xenobiology, a knack for diplomacy, and an unquenchable curiosity about the universe. Interested? Ilara's eyes widened in surprise, then sparkled with excitement. Are you kidding? It would be the opportunity of a lifetime. But what about you, Commander? Jackson smiled, a hint of wistfulness in her expression. Earth still needs its defenders, and someone needs to coordinate our efforts with the rest of the galaxy. I'll be taking command of the new Terran Defense Force. But don't worry, I'll expect full reports on all the amazing discoveries you make out there. As they shook hands, sealing their new roles in the galactic community, the ship's communication system chirped to life. Commander Jackson, Dr. Chen. A young ensign's voice came through. We're receiving transmissions from all over the galaxy. Species we've never even heard of before, all reaching out. They've heard about what happened with the Void Harbingers, and they want to join the Alliance. Ilara and Olivia exchanged a look of wonder and determination. The galaxy was awakening, coming together in a way that had never before been possible. And humanity, against all odds, was at the center of it all. Well, Dr. Chen, Commander Jackson said with a grin, it looks like our work is just beginning. Shall we greet our new neighbors? As they turned to leave the observation deck, ready to face the challenges and wonders that awaited them, the stars seemed to twinkle with promise. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity, of exploration, of boundless possibility, had just begun. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, new adventures were waiting to unfold.